Hello, and everybody, dear viewers and subscribers to this channel. Good evening or good night, whichever part of the world or wherever in any part of the world you live in. Today's topic is can same sex couples adopt children? So, before I discuss the topic, let's talk about what are same sex couples. Same sex couples, like, for example, you have gays and you have lesbians. Lesbians, the female homosexuals. So, gays, before that, let's talk about masculine and feminine. Masculine traits, feminine traits. It doesn't necessarily mean that a man is going to only have masculine traits and no feminine traits, or a woman is only going to have feminine traits and no masculine traits. Right now I'm talking about straight male, straight female, like heterosexual man, heterosexual woman. The thing is, there has to be a balance of masculine energy and a feminine energy for both sexes or genders. Though you might want to Google yin yang, the yin and the yang, to get a clear view of what I'm talking about. And not to worry, we'll all read about the yin and yang later. So, as I was saying, among gays, one person obviously has to be feminine. Therefore, if they both were masculine, they wouldn't be homosexual males. Similarly, in the lesbian side, one person, excuse me, has to be masculine. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been lesbians. So, having said that, let us look into whether should the same-sex couples adopt children. Okay, so let's go into the pros and cons. Okay, here we are. Two parents of the same sex can be good for development. With LGBT couples, it's no surprise, a lesbian, gay, bisexual, mind you, it's not the same sex. Bisexual means the person favors not only his own or her own sex, but the opposite of a sex or gender, the other gender. And tree for transvestite, the third gender. Yeah, you know what they call them in the Indian subcontinent. Okay, so with LGBT couples, it's no surprise that a major benefit is having two parents of the same sex. As your baby grows older, he or she will see that it's okay to not have just one mom and one dad as adoptive parents. He or she instead will feel more comfortable with having two dads or two moms. Having LGBT parents can also make your baby more informed, although it's likely that your baby may notice criticism among the LGBT community. They will learn how to stand up for themselves and their adoptive parents. With having parents of the same sex, your baby has a clear advantage of being more accepting of others' differences, tolerance, individuality, and diversity. Remember, we're still on the pros. Your baby can grow up to be understanding. It's not uncommon for LGBT couples to be more accepting and tolerant of others' differences. These are huge characteristics of being understanding. Your child can learn how to forgive quicker when he or she makes a mistake and learn how to be better, understand and how to better understand others as well. The world is full of people who do not forgive. These people end up losing their relationships and can grow up to become miserable. With your baby learning to accept others for who they are, he or she will come to know that the world needs more forgiving people. Cons of LGBT adoption: judgment will arise. Even though people are generally becoming more accepting of the LGBT community, there's still a good number of people that believe that the LGBT community is different. They do not deserve the same rights as heterosexual couples. You may be worried that judgment. Hmm, you may be worried that judgment will forever hurt your baby. But as we discussed previously about the pros of adoption, your baby will learn to accept differences. As he or she grows up, they will be able to stand up for themselves and refrain from typical judgments that arise within the LGBT community. Judgments are a way for the LGBT community to only grow stronger. Even though judgments will happen, your baby will learn to recognize differences and grow up to become more alert in an ever changing society. Again, we're still in the cons. People will assume your baby is also a member of the LGBT community. Obviously, this is not really a con, but something important to point out. If you are concerned that placing your child with an LGBT adoptive family will quote unquote turn them gay, don't be. It's not true. Personal attraction comes later in life, and your child has the freedom and right to choose who they love, no matter what. Nothing will make them gay. Just as is it worth considering an LGBT couple to adopt your baby? Absolutely. There's so much to keep in mind regarding LGBT adoption. The cons of LGBT adoption that we listed easily can be overcome, and the adoptive parents you select for your child will do their best to provide them with the most loving and successful life possible. LGBT couples are wonderful to work with simply because of how understanding and accepting they are about life. Your baby needs to be raised by a couple who genuinely has an interest in him or her. Thankfully, LGBT couples fit this profile perfectly and would be one of the best types of family models to consider when looking at prospective adoptive parents. Okay, now here's another part, pros and cons for choosing gay adoptive parents. Being a birth mother, you can choose from a diverse list of adoptive parents to adopt your child. Depending on how diverse you want to go with your decision, gay may be the best adoption for you. Choosing a gay couple for your adoption, whether be it two mothers or two fathers, can affect your child's life in both positive and negative ways. There are many pros and cons to gay adoption that you may want to think about when deciding which adoptive parents you want to adopt your child. Some pros that are in a gay adoption, you are giving the gay couple you choose the ability to adopt a baby that they cannot have on their own. They can also raise your child as their own and show them it's okay to have two moms or two dads. Raising your child to accept all different people, no matter their sexuality, and be more understanding. Some cons are that your child's family will receive a lot of discrimination, which could affect your child's psychological factors, including their mental health. These are all plausible things that could happen in your child's life if you choose gay adoption, but it could be the best decision of your life. More understanding. Unfortunately, today, some people don't support same sex couples being together. But having your child have a same sex couple as his or her adoptive parents will allow them to grow up to this family dynamic being normalized. What is normalized in society is usually a mom, a dad, and their children. Two moms or two dads aren't as normalized due to media and stigmas surrounding the LGBT community. With two moms or two dads, your child will be more accepting and understanding of different parent pictures. Your child will see that it is okay to love who they love, no matter the gender. He or she will be able to have no worries about loving who they love as they're growing up. They will have this supportive family that will teach them to be kind to people no matter what their sexualities. His or her adoptive parents will support them and accept them no matter who they bring home to meet the family. This is a huge positive to gay adoption because you know that you will give your child an accepting and supportive family. You will give the adoptive parents a child that they can't have on their own. Same sex couples are not able to have children of their own due to physicalities and how the reproductive system works. Adoption is a great option for gay couples if they want to have a family. They can have a child, a loving and accepting home when they can't do that with their own biological child. They can raise your child like it's their own and show them that two moms or two dads is normal. Growing up up gay and realizing that you can't have children of your own with your future partner is hard, but adoption makes it so that they can have a child to raise with their partner. You are able to do that for them as a birth mother. You will be giving a loving and accepting couple a child to raise as their own, and they will be forever grateful to you for giving them this ability. Any comments? Let's see, any comments? Okay, some comments. Broad lover. Support for LGBT community. Face red heart shaper. Broad lover again. Being bisexual parents. Normal too. I love polyamory. Okay, anybody in the private chat? Let me see the private chat. Okay, so no one. Let's continue. Mhm. Pros for choosing LGBT. Choosing any pair of adopting parents can have its cons, but with gay adoption, your child could be negatively impacted by outside people. His or her psychological factors may be affected due to unsupportive people, but it's not your child's fault. Neither is it yours if you choose gay adoption. Discrimination. As I mentioned previously, there are people who don't support same sex couples and gay people in general. So your child's family may face some backlash. There may be people who judge your child's adoptive parents and his or her family dynamic. This can cause a lot of issues growing up. Discriminations against LGBT people and couples is still going on to this day, and it could affect how your child sees his or her adoptive family. This could also affect your child's mental health, and they may think it's their fault for being a part of this non traditional family, even though it's not. And it's not your fault either. Excuse me. You may blame yourself for putting your child in this hard situation, but everything will be okay if loving parents surround them. Psychological factors. A huge part of the cons of choosing gay adoptive parents is that your child may have higher rates of depression, drug abuse, and suicide. This was found in a statistic of teens raised by LGBTQ parents. Although the pros may outweigh the cons, this decision we understand having that worry for your child. You may want them to have the best life they can, and you wish them to be happy and healthy. Growing up with gay adoptive parents with the discrimination it might cause may negatively affect your child. They may start to think that they're in the wrong family dynamic, but they aren't. They're just people in the wrong world who don't accept it. And if you have contact with your child, you can help them understand that along with adoptive parents, raising them to be kind and accepting. If your child has a support system around them, they will grow up with better mental health. Having that worry for your child is natural. It's normal even if you choose closed adoption and have no communication with them. You'll still worry about their well being because they're your child and you carried them and birthed them. Are gay parents right for your child? No matter what you choose, you will choose what's best for your child. We know that you want your child to have a happy and healthy family life that you are not able to give them. Choosing gay adoptive parents has its pros and cons, and the pros may outweigh the cons for you. This is a huge decision, and you can take as long as you need to decide the best option for your child, to have the loving and supporting life you wish for them. Okay. Anybody has any question? Any comment? Let's see টুটান চন্দ্র সাহা বাঙালি বাংলায় বুঝে না ইংরেজিতে বলে সমাজ পাল্টাবে না হুম good one. Okay, another one. Pros and cons of LGBT adoption. Okay, first let's go to the pros. Despite how far the world has come, especially the US, it can still be very difficult for people to feel uncomfortable coming out, quote unquote, out as LGBT. To be out and in a committed relationship is a very conscious choice to love, despite the obstacles. If they choose love in this way, that doesn't give a good indication of how they will choose love in an adoption. That they will choose to love your child no matter what, that they will raise your child with compassion, acceptance, and understanding. Children raised by LGBT couples are more open minded. One of the only consistent differences between children raised by heterosexual and LGBT adoptive parents is that children raised by LGBT parents tend to be more empathetic and open minded. We could use this a little more of that in our world today. LGBT couples utilize support systems. Though there's a higher stress for LGBT couples and individuals, this stress doesn't cause significant differences for the children. Researchers explain this by conjecturing that parents utilize support systems like parenting groups and counseling. Furthermore, this helps their child become more resilient, providing the miracle of adoption. One of the best things about adoption is an avenue for people who are physically not able to have children to become parents and raise a child. For the most part, adoption is one of the ways LGBT people can have children. Being a part of helping people who are meant to be parents really become parents can be its own rewards. They provide a loving home. This has kind of already been said, as a lot of points have focused on love, but really, think about it for a moment. The goal of adoption is to give your child a loving home, a home that will be able to care for and provide for your child. What better one than one that has already proven it's a place where love is consciously chosen? Cons of LGBT adoption. Misconception. While many people don't know how to talk about adoption positively, it's even more rare to find someone who isn't misguided. Thanks to some of the Christian organizations which lean ultra conservative and ultra conservative outlets, many people believe things like being raised by a gay couple will make the child gay, will quote unquote make the child gay, and that the child will have some sort of incomplete experience because they'll be lacking a role model of each gender. These sorts of misconceptions simply aren't true. If you who are raised by determines your sexuality, have straight couples raised then how have straight couples raised gay children? If being raised without a male parent or without a female parent will cause problems, why aren't single parents vilified in the same way? These misconceptions will cause stress for the parents. Though remarkably, the higher stress does not cause adverse effects for the child. What is a more pressing concern is the discriminations these misconceptions cause. Oh, and another con, discrimination. While things have certainly gotten better, okay, there's still a long way to go. Children raised by gay couples and individuals will face discrimination and bullying more than children raised by straight couples. However, as stated, these children will tend to be more resilient to face this. Other forms of discrimination may come from additional paperwork and other difficulties that will differ on a many bases from each country. It is important to realize the cons of LGBT adoption are really due to the outside reception of it rather than anything with the adoption itself. That said, if you will have any personal difficulty with an LGBT couple or raising your child, especially if you're doing an adoption with some degree of openness, you don't want to put your child in a position where they will feel tensions between their adoptive parents and birth parents. Okay, let's see any more comments, any more, and no more new comments. No private chat. Before I continue, anyone wants to join in, give their input, comments, questions? Anyone? The floor is open. We have almost 40 minutes left. Oh, we have another comment. Let's see. Yeah, what's this? Broad lover. Yeah, same-sex lifestyle is a necessity provided by the society. Yeah, we still have a long way to go. Okay. So overall, yes, there may be some difficulties with an LGBT adoption. There are difficulties with everything that goes against the quote unquote norm. But just because there may be those challenges and hardships doesn't mean that isn't worth doing or at least giving a chance. Meet with diverse people and decide based on how you feel about them as people who will potentially raise your child, not the labels they have. Hmm, okay. Uh, Here's another one. If you're thinking about adopting a newborn via domestic adoption, the first stage is to become familiar with the process. This is always the first advice for prospective adoptive parents, since the process itself has its advantages and disadvantages. Usually, it's highly emotional and overwhelming, but with some basic knowledge of adoption procedures, it can be a rewarding choice. It's your best to explore the pros and cons of adoption carefully before you embark on this journey. As you know, there are also different adoption types that are mostly based on preferences of birth parents and adoptive parents. It is important to think thoroughly about your desired adoption type. So take time as much as time as you need to think about that. If you want to adopt a newborn baby, you should consider pros and cons before filling out the forms. Okay, let's start with the cons. Some cons of LGBT adoption. Psychological issues often scare adoptive parents the most. It's important to remain positive and hopeful, but if you're not realistic throughout the adoption process, you may be disappointed. Information restrictions in some adoption types can sometimes have negative effects, especially for the children, since they may feel like there's one piece of their background missing. This may cause emotional problems or even a need to search for their birth parents. An adoption can be a long and challenging process, but this highly depends on laws of your country. Familiarize yourself with the adoption laws in your country before you make your decision. When adopting a newborn, choose an agency or adoption professional that specializes in or has extensive experience with newborn domestic adoption. It's no secret that adoptions are costly. There are adoption financial assistance options out there. So you should explore your options if you're concerned about affording an adoption. Okay, again, let's see any more comments. No comments. Private chat. Anyone wants to join in? The link is there, given their input. We still got 28 minutes to go. Anybody available? Anybody? Anybody want to join? All right, all right. Hey, let's continue. Some pros of LGBT adoption. Adoptive parents often adopt a newborn so then experience the joyful event of raising a new life from the very beginning. Adoption is all about creating a family and is just as emotional, joyful as a birth is. Adoption can change you in a positive way. Couples and individuals who are in the process of deciding whether they want to go ahead with the adoption should take an honest assessment of their openness and truthfully evaluate their decisions. This level of self reflection can make you a better person or even help you figure out some things about your personality, your relationship, and even make you a better parent for your future child. One of the biggest pros of domestic adoption is that birth parents and babies' medical information is often easily obtained. Also, the also other information about child's biological parents are more accurate when obtained firsthand. With domestic adoption, a baby is born into a loving and caring home. Also, adoptive parents are given the opportunity to become parents. Many adoptive parents have been hoping for a long time. Here we go. Here's another one. Okay, another pros and cons. You've decided to adopt. That's exciting news. A very important, the first step in your adoption journey and to growing your family. You've no doubt started to research the available options and get a bit more educated about the process itself, but you're still wrestling with the benefits and potential drawbacks of your decision. Don't worry, you've come to the right place. Believe it or not, weighing all the pros and cons is an important part of the decision making process. It's perfectly okay and natural to carefully consider the many facets involved. Excuse me. Not only does this show that you are dedicated to the journey, but it also speaks volumes to your future as a good parent. Hmm. To begin, let's get the cons out of the way first. Cons of the same sex adoption. Discrimination. Despite the leaps the government has made, there's still room for more growth and a deeper sense of acceptance. Until that happens, though, discrimination continues to thrive. Thus, your child may be subject to bullying and ridicule at school. Psychological factors. Statistics show that teens raised by LGBT parents often have higher rates of depression, drug abuse, and suicide than by straight parents. These facts alone stop potential parents in their tracks. Yet, it's important to remain hopeful, positive, and realistic. It's hard work. Not everyone is cut out to be a parent. The idea of having a child always overtakes the reality of it. Once your child comes home, you can't give him or her back at the end of the day. You have to be dedicated to them every step of the way. Now for the positive side of things. Pros of same-sex adoption. A loving home. As prospective parents, you have the opportunity to open your hearts and home to a child who desperately needs it, to ensure that they are never orphaned or feel unwanted. You get to enrich their lives with meaning, warmth, and love. You get your family. Adoption grants same sex parents the gift of a child who they couldn't otherwise have. Whether you're single or unable to conceive, adoption helps make your dream of parenthood come true. It changes your life. Growing your family through adoption is a life changing journey. It is both rewarding and challenging. Through domestic infant adoption, you get to experience the joy of bringing home a baby and raising him or her from the start of their life. From there, you get to watch them as they grow and raise them as your own. Here's something bonus: openness in the adoption. Prospective parents can see this both as a pro and con. While the easy access to your child's medical and health records is appealing, staying connected to the birth family might not be what you have in mind. For this aspect of your decision making, be sure to reach out to your adoption agency or lawyer to discuss what best fits you and your ideal family. Okay, let's see any more comments, any more private, anything. Okay, before I go further, anybody wanna join in? Anybody wants to join in, give their input, questions, comments? Yeah, the line is open. The link is there. The link is open. Okay, weighing the pros and cons. Adoption is all about creating your family. It will change your life in the best way possible and present you with learning curves every step of the way. To better help you through the pros and cons stage of your adoption journey, consider these questions. What are your true motivations to adopt? Why do you want to be a parent? Again, what are your true motivations to adopt? Why do you want to be a parent? Think through these carefully. Be transparent and honest with yourself and your partner. You may find that answering these helps you find the response you already know deep down. Okay, another one. Okay, LGBT adoption pros and cons. Everyone deserves to have the family they've always dreamed of. The world is becoming more progressive, and we are seeing an increase in diverse families. If you're a birth mother who's thinking about placing your child for adoption through LGBT adoption, There are many agencies to help you with all the advantages and drawbacks of LGBT adoption. This is a non exhaustive list of LGBT adoption pros and cons. Because it's better to end on a positive note, let's start with the cons. Cons. Okay, here we go. Three of them. Discrimination. Although society is evolving and becoming more accepting, there's always room for improvement. Choosing to have your child raised in an LGBT adoptive household in what some may consider an quote unquote unconventional family may increase the risk of your child experiencing bullying or harassment. Sadly, kids who are raised without a sense of diversity and acceptance tend to make fun of what and who they don't understand. Assumptions and stereotypes. We know that there's no quote unquote perfect or quote unquote right definition of family. However, there are still people out there who believe that your child should be raised by a mother and a father. There's also the myth that children raised by LGBT parents turn out to be gay. While proven false time and time again, these stereotypes and judgments can still sting. Psychological issues. Studies show that children raised by LGBT parents are more likely to experience mental illness or abuse drugs and or alcohol than those raised by straight parents. Due to the severity of those issues, that statistic can carry a lot of weight for birth mothers. Okay, let me see any more comments, questions in the middle before I continue. Anybody want to give their input before I go on? We still got 28 minutes to go. 28 minutes. Anybody want to give their input? Yeah. Okay. While these are very important cons to be aware of, it shouldn't deter you away from choosing LGBT adoption for your child. There are many good things that your child can experience, which brings us to our next segment. Let's look onto the bright side and discuss the pros of LGBT adoption. Pros. How many are there? Let's see. One, two, three. Three pros. Increased empathy and tolerance in the child. Being raised in an adoptive family who's considered quote unquote different is a prime example of how we should embrace our true selves and live the life that will make us the happiest. Because children raised by LGBT parents know what it feels like to quote unquote stand out. They're often more humble and accepting of their peers. Whether it's offering to sit with a lonely student at lunch or standing up for a kid getting bullied, your child will learn the importance of individuality, grow more to be accepting of others' differences, and choose compassion. Greater commitment to parenting. LGBT adoptive parents don't typically get pregnant by accident. They have to work harder than usual to have children, as they cannot conceive naturally. In other words, LGBT parents don't take the decision to adopt lightly. They think long and hard, which shows an amazing amount of responsibility, dedication, and a strong commitment to parenting. A loving family. No matter how hard you try, you can't make everyone happy. This is also true in many other areas of our lives. No matter how hard you try, you can't make everyone happy. And that shouldn't be the goal to make everyone happy. Love is love, and those who identify as LGBT have no shortage of that beautiful characteristic. There will always be obstacles in life. Yeah, in many aspects, in all aspects of life. But there's no doubt that a loving adoptive family can be created if given the right tools. Your child will be grateful to be loved. Sexual orientation has no impact on whether or not their adoptive parents are capable of being good parents and role models. Family is more than blood and DNA. and your child's adoptive family structure will show that. Okay. Here we go. Another one. A family is not defined or determined by blood or relations, legal documents, or last names. One is called a family when all members receive and give equal love to each other regardless of the parent's sexual orientation. Gay adoption gives no disadvantage at any cost to children, but in the contrary, allows them to have a family they long for. Let's see, any more comments or questions? Any comments? Any input? Okay, 30, it's 10:36. We have 24 minutes to go. Anybody want to give a comment, input? Anybody want to join? The link is there, the StreamYard link. Okay. Okay. Adoption is a process whereby a person assumes the parenting of another from that person's legal or biological parents or parent. After this procedure, it allows them to hand over all rights and responsibilities from the real or biological parents. It is unlike guardianship, which is designed for the care of the young. Adoption proposes to effect a permanent change in status and requires societal recognition, either through legal or religious authorization. As to this definition, gay adoption is defined as the adoption by gay, bisexual, and transgender persons. This, perchance, be in the form of joint adoption by a same sex couple, adoption by one partner of the same sex couple of the other's biological step parent adoption, and adoption by a single gay person. Hey, hold on, just a minute. So, link. Hold on. Where we go? Where we go? Hold on. Here we go. Oh, which one? So, I feel like PL.org. Hold on. Let it go. Let it go. Mm-hmm. Right, here we are. Okay. Okay, good. Does anyone want to join in? Anyone? Hmm. Okay, where to go? Okay. Okay, arguments for and against gay adoption. Okay, we have two columns. One is the for column, and we have the one is the against column. In the meantime, let me see. Anybody put any input here? Anybody put a comment? Private chat? Anything? No, nothing. Let's go again. Okay, here we go. Equal rights just mean that. Okay, I'm in the fourth column. Civilized societies do not discriminate on grounds of race, creed, gender, or sexuality. Yet the denial of equal rights to gay couples is a clear discrimination. Gay and heterosexual couples deserve the same legal rights to adopt. Anything less is pure inequality based on homophobia. In some countries, gay individuals can adopt as single parents, but gay couples can. That is absurd. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights says clearly, quote unquote, all are equal before the law, all are entitled to equal protection against any discrimination. A growing number of countries are waking up to this reality. Now, this is the against side. Number one, let each country decide for itself. One of the fundamental principles of the European, as this is a European Union, we're taking it as an example here. Subsidiarity. EU should only have a role of issues that cannot be more effective. Gay adoption is clearly an issue that is best decided on a country by country basis without rushing citizens in more traditional societies. Now, that is true. LGBT couples make great parents. There's ample evidence to show that gay couples can be just as good at parenting as straight couples. In fact, some believe homosexual couples, on average, tend to be better motivated and more committed than heterosexual parents because they always choose to have children. Unlike the around 50% of the straight couple who stumble into parenthood by accident. Many gay couples form relationships that are more stable than many heterosexual marriages, giving adopted children a secure, emotionally stable home. Okay, now against. Number two, this is the against column. Religious and moral values. Gay parenting runs fundamentally counter to many people's religious views. Legalizing it would offend cherished beliefs and further undermine the key role religion always plays as a moral bedrock in society. Christian, Jewish, and Islamic leaders have all spoken out against gay marriage. Number three, on the four column, kids needs families. Children adopted by gay couples weren't snatched from happy hetero families. Most will come from orphanages, foster homes, or single moms, unable to cope. Many are from poor countries. The family, gay or straight, is better than the alternatives. Given the shortage of suitable straight couples, gay adoption can provide kids the loving homes they need. That's good for children, good for couples wanting to raise a child, and good for society. There are now around 65,000 children who have found homes thanks to gay adoption legislation in the United States. Number three, against column, a democratic decision. Democracy doesn't always achieve the outcome you want. True. Yet we have to respect the democratic decision of people who vote for politicians and governments that oppose gay adoption. They are the elected representatives of their societies, and we should accept that even if we disagree with what they have to say. Number four, on the fourth column, breaking down prejudices. Societies that embrace diversity are stronger and better off. Children raised by gay couples may have different outlooks. Surveys in the US have shown that they grow up more tolerant and open minded. That can only be good. Lifting bans on gay marriage or gay adoption are steps towards more diverse, more tolerant societies where nobody faces discrimination. Now we're on the right side of history, said Portuguese gay rights campaigner Isabel Advirta after Parliament approved the gay adoption law in December. Number four, on the against column, shutting doors. Faith-based adoption agencies play a vital role in ensuring orphaned, abandoned, or deprived children can find loving homes. Many will simply give up rather than be forced by the law to hand children to same-sex couples. It's already happening. Catholic agencies in Britain and the United States have shut shop in the wake of laws that would have obliged them to send children to gay couples. Enforcing legislation will make it more difficult for needy children to find the families they need. Okay, let me see. Any more comments? Any more private chat? Anyone? Anyone here for private chat? We have 15 minutes left. Anyone want to give in their input? Out? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, here's one. Should gay couples adopt? Gay people get offended by the view held by certain members in our society who loudly claim that a child cannot become a well-rounded, tolerant, and industrious member of their society if he or she had been raised by either a gay, lesbian, transsexual individuals. What do you think? It's probably safe to say that attitudes in certain places towards gay or lesbian couples are no longer such where such like individuals feel they need to be ashamed of their sexual preference and therefore being forced to keep it in the closet, as it were. Is it homophobic to say gay couples shouldn't be allowed to adopt a child? Is it racist to say white people shouldn't adopt a black child, for example? Some would call such a view as a desirable act of inciting racial hatred. Is it simple, the religious view of some that make them take such a stand? To be honest, religion, albeit Christian or Muslim or anyone else, for that matter, have presided over some of the most hideous crimes against humanity. And for some of their leaders to come out and say that a gay couple adopting a child is quote unquote child abuse is as little cheap, don't you think? Why can't people, regardless of their sexual orientation in life, be afforded common consideration? If we did so, then we'll find that we're in a very different position than the outdated views held a very long time ago. Surely, if a child has two loving and caring parents to look after him or her, then what more do people want? Families break up in society, regardless of whether their parents are straight or gay. Is it just bigotry of the highest order when we pull up our noses? When we pull our noses up, if a gay couple were to adopt a child for themselves, norm for a gay couple to do so, and people questioning gay couples adopting a child tarnishes the lesbian couple without loving foster parents who happens to be gay, that's trying to give a child healthy and happy environment to flourish in. We should accept people for who they are and stop the bigotry against gay or lesbian couples and their right to adopt. Here are some views across the world on the matter. Number one, gay couples can adopt. What no one has taken into account is what the child will feel. Do you have any idea how much he or she will be bullied and ostracized by his peers? This seems to be a case of people listening to those who shout the loudest instead of thinking this through logically. Many straight parents raised a perfectly well adjusted gay son. What's all this talk of quote unquote indoctrination? Gay people grow up to be gay regardless of how you raise them. Surely having loving parents, no matter their gender and orientation, is the most important thing. And for the naysayers, it's high time that they thought about the children instead of parroting petty prejudice. Number three, if they give the child love and attention and give them everything they need, then I'm in the yes camp. Remember, people used to use the argument that mixed race couples shouldn't have children because they would inevitably be bullied. Well, those people were pioneers, as gay couples will be. It's just one small step for equality. That's all these people want. For all of the gay lesbian parents I know who have or had adopted the children did so out of love, not for a fashion accessory. Very few stable long term gay relationships. Wrong again. We're not talking about a small pool of your friends. In fact, lesbian relationships have been studied and found to be longer and more stable than heterosexual marriage. Facts, not fear. Okay, let's see. Any comments? Who's in the comment? One new comment. Yes, okay. Very good. That's a yes. Okay. We've got 10 more minutes left. Anybody want to join in? Okay, here we go. Okay, this one. Let's try this one. Okay. Anybody questions? Anybody questions? Anything? Questions? Anyone want to join the live stream? Okay, so this web page I'm sharing with you. See if you, I see this is a Catholic page, so I'm going to share this screen, and I want you to see they're written. They've written about the dangers of same-sex adaptation. Share screen. Here we go. Share screen. Share. All right. Sharing. Here we go. Okay, this is the Catholic webpage. EWTN.com, Catholicism. Dangers of same sex couples adopting children. The author's name is Zenit. Okay, and the risk, Providence. Okay. Despite the large number of securely married people, weddings are often regarded as desirable. She says Zenit. Okay. What's the growing trend of children being adopted? With this a Q&A. I do not have any research for this, but the dramatic increase recently spoke, she has said, by same sex. Mhm. How gay persons are far more likely suffer from psychological and other problems that married heterosexual couples. That it appeared many who adopted had psychological and other problems that would have disqualified a married man and woman from other. This, of course, is only anecdotal evidence, but well designed studies that compare persons with same sex attractions with a general found that persons with same sex are far more likely to suffer from psychological disorders. A same sex couple has, by definition, two persons at high risk for psychological disorders. The studies published in the Archives of General Psychiatry found that persons self identified as homosexual, in comparison to general public, had almost double the rate of suicidal ideation or attempt, substance, drug abuse problems, and psychological disorders. One of the studies found that 78.6% of the gay lesbians or bisexual group suffered from multiple disorders. So, everyone, here's the link. Everybody, you can see. You can read it again. Okay, so I said I was going to talk about the yin and yang with 6 minutes left. So here it is. And why is it relevant? Because as I was talking about masculine and feminine, this is why it's relevant. Okay, everybody, you can see the yin and yang. Chinese philosophical concept, okay. Sexual coupling, here it is. Here it is, male and female. And the formation, okay. Mm-hmm. Here we go. Yin, female, passive. This is the female nature. We all have males and females. And there's the masculine nature. Yin, the female. Yang, the male. Female, passive, negative, principle in nature. The moon, shaded orientation, covert, concealed, hidden. You know that. Yeah. Vagina, penis of the netherworld, negative. North side of a hill. South bank of a river. Reverse side of a steel. Yang, male, active, positive, principle in nature. The sun, male, genitals in relief, open, overt, belonging to this world. Masculine, in linguistics, is called masculine. South side of a hill, north bank of a river. The compound means yin and yang, means the opposites. Okay, in Chinese philosophy, the feminine or negative principle, characterized by dark, wetness, cold, passivity, disintegration, etc., of the two opposing cosmic forces into which creative energy divides and whose fusion in physical matter brings the phenomenal world into being. Also attributable or as adjective, attributive or as transitive, opposite of yang. Combination as yin yang, the combination of the fusion of two cosmic forces, frequently attributed, especially as yin yang symbol. Yang, Chinese yang, sun, positive male genitals. In Chinese philosophy, the masculine or positive fusion in physical matter brings the phenomenal world. You see, this is the modern usage. Yin is the black side, yang is the white side. You can all check this on Wikipedia. The relationship between yin and yang is often described in terms of sunlight playing over a mountain and a valley. Yin, literally the shady place or north slope, is the dark area, occluded by the mountain's bulk, while yang, literally the sunny place or south slope, is the brightly lit portion. As the sun moves across the sky, yin and yang gradually trade places with each other, revealing what was obscured and obscuring what was revealed. Yin is characterized by slow, soft, yielding, cold, wet, and passive, and is associated with water, earth, the moon, negativity, femininity, shadow slash darkness, destruction, and nighttime. Yang, by contrast, is fast, hard, solid, focused, hot, warm, dry, and active, and is associated with fire, sky slash air, the sun, positivity, masculinity, glowing light, creation, and daytime. Okay, so everybody check that out. We're almost done. Stop sharing. Yeah, stop sharing. So, anybody, last 2 minutes, anybody say talk about the yin yang? Want to give the feedback? Your feedback, yin and yang. So, my closing. In closing, my viewpoint is yes. Uh, yes, the children are going to be more open minded, and yes, straight parents, yeah, there's no guarantee that a child raised by straight parents or heterosexual parents is going to be a straight guy or girl or heterosexual himself or herself. No guarantee. Likewise, a kid raised by gay parents is going to be gay. Like, there's no justification for that either. But yeah, he will be more open minded. He will be empathetic because as they stand out, like I said, the gay parents, because they're standing out, how society sees them, he'll be able to understand it, to take it in. He'll be able to see it in a different viewpoint. He will be able to know how it feels like being different, whether it's race, it's religion, Yeah, it does have a big positive impact. So, those are my thoughts, and everybody, good night.